that we're going to do is just take a seat. I want you to sit on something, whether it's a block, whether it's a blanket, anything that you want to. I just want you to sit for a moment. And then once you feel like you've got your support underneath your pelvis, go ahead and remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones. Allow your hands to rest on the tops of your thighs. Softly close your eyes or lower your gaze down to the floor. And I want you to just take a few moments to settle into your body. So if that means that you need to wiggle out your shoulders a little bit, do that. If it feels like you need to roll the neck, go ahead and do that. But you're going to allow yourself to start to come to a still spot. And once you find yourself in your still spot, good morning, Robin. Oh, you got a haircut. That looks cute. I want you to just take a few moments and a few breaths to just notice what you notice. I've been thinking a lot this week about this idea of really checking in before we act. And so as you're here, I want you to just notice, where does the body feel like it's expansive? Where does it feel like it's maybe a little bit more contracted, a little closed off? Where do you feel tension? Where do you feel ease? And it could be entirely physical. It could be emotional. It could be physical. But whatever it is, or mental, whatever it is, I want you to just notice what's present. And then you're going to take 3 big breaths, and big breath through the nose and an audible exhalation through the mouth. Big breath in, audible breath out. And your last one, big breath in, and audible breath out. As we move through our practice today, our invitation is going to be this. Can we allow ourselves to first notice what's there, to allow it to continue to be there, no need to change or manipulate it. And then 3, just notice what changes by simply allowing something to be there, to breathe with it. So we'll keep that as our invitation. You can go ahead and open your eyes if they're closed, and I want you to just take 3 shoulder circles forward. And if it feels better to keep your eyes closed, you can do that as well. But you're going to take your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. And after you've gone 3 circles the first way, go ahead and pause. Again, just notice what happens, and then reverse your circles. So back, up, down, and forward, or forward and down, and just observe, experiencing how this is happening for you now. At the end of the 3rd shoulder circle, just gently relax the shoulders, drop your chin towards your chest, and you're going to drop your right ear over towards your right shoulder, and just take a moment to breathe onto the left side of your neck. When you feel ready, the chin will come back through center, and then the left ear will dip over towards the left shoulder. And again, you'll take a breath. And then you'll just repeat this 3 more times on your own. So the head circles through the center and over towards the right shoulder. And you're just observing how this feels. And then gently the chin comes back through center, left ear towards your left shoulder. And again, just taking a moment to pause and breathe. Now for these next 2, you might find that as you come through center and then you go over towards your right, maybe your head leans back just a little bit more, so more of your left cheek kisses up towards the sky. And then you'll come back through center and then go over towards your left. And again, similarly, maybe the head leans back just a bit more, so now more of the right cheek lifts up towards the sky. Awesome. And then come back through center. And again, over to the right, maybe lean back a little further, maybe not. And this time, as we go over to the left, we're just going to make that one giant slow circle. So you're just going to go to your left, giant slow circle. And as you start to go back for the first time, notice how that feels. Drawing the right ear back towards the right shoulder, and then come back through center. And now this time you'll go over towards your left and you'll pause. And then we'll switch the direction of the circle. So now you come through the center and then over to the right and then back and around. And again, noticing what's happening as you go into the back region. Now you've got 4 more breath cycles on your own. You might use those breath cycles to take 1 circle in each direction. You might use those breath cycles to take 2 circles in each direction. Whatever you're doing, can you first check in and notice what you're noticing in your neck? Allow those sensations to be there. Breathe with those sensations and just notice what changes by doing that. Once you're complete between both sides, go ahead and draw your chin towards the center. Interlace your hands at the back of your head, and you'll lightly pull your hands against your head, push your skull against your hands. As your elbows dip down, your chin comes towards your chest, and you'll feel this gentle, hopefully, stretch across the back of your neck. When you're ready, start to push your head into your hands and bring your head more vertical. Once you feel like your ears are in line with your shoulders, just take a moment to pause there. Continue to pull the hands into the skull, push the skull back into the hands. And then you might begin to push the head even further back so that maybe now your gaze starts to lift, your head starts to lean back just a smidge. Awesome. On your next in breath, go ahead and come back up through center. As you exhale, gently lower the hands down towards your lap. Take a moment to just notice what's happening in the neck, what's happening in the head. If you want to turn your gaze to the right or to the left, by all means, slowly do that. But you're just checking in and seeing what's happening in the body right now. Awesome. Once you're complete, go ahead and come to stillness, come to neutral. If your legs are crossed, switch the cross of your legs. And then let's go ahead and reach our right arm up and overhead. Okay, so we're going to take a little side bend over towards our left. Your left elbow can start to bend, your left shoulder can drop, and you're going to reach out through your right fingertips. Take a moment to breathe all along your right side body and just notice what you notice. Can you lean your head back a smidge? Can you maybe bend your top elbow and see if that intensifies the stretch on your right side? Or does it feel better to have your right arm long? Nice work. Some of you might bring your head to the back or hand to the back of your head and lean back and see how that feels. But you're just taking a few breaths here. When you're ready to come out, the right arm reaches up. It draws you out to the right and spine back to center. And then again, you just take a moment to pause. What's happened on the right side versus the left side? We'll go ahead and switch sides. Your left arm reaches up. And then we'll take a little side bend over towards the right. And again, you're just rooting down into your left hip. You're breathing into your left side body and then play with what's happening with your left arm. Maybe you bend the left elbow. Maybe you hold the back of your head and lean back. Maybe you just continue to extend out through your left fingertips, but you just pause and you breathe. You notice, you allow it to be there, and then you just breathe with it. When you're ready to come out, left arm reaches up, come all the way back up to vertical. And then again, notice what you notice. We're going to move on now here. So right hand will come in front, left arm will come behind you. Inhale, lift up through your spine. And as you exhale, we're going to start to rotate towards our left. And I want you to close your eyes for this one so that you can rotate from the inside out. So as you're rotating towards the left, you might pull your left low belly closer to your spine. As you do that, you might start to walk your right hand to the outside edge of your left knee or left thigh. You might find that you can then inhale and lift your center of your chest, your sternum up. And then notice if you can lightly pull with your right hand as you scoop your left low belly in and maybe press your left fingertips down and away from you into the floor. Maybe the back of your skull comes to the front of your mat. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what's happening here. Fantastic. When you're ready to come out, you'll inhale, your face will come forward, your shoulders will unwind, your abdomen and ribs will unwind, and you'll just take a moment to pause. Great. Switch the cross of your legs if your legs are crossed. Awesome. All right, other side. Left arm in front, right arm behind, eyes soften or close, and then inhale, lift up through your spine. And as you exhale, start to draw the right low belly in towards the spine. As you do that, you continue to inhale and lift up through the vertebra. Your left hand might touch the outer edge of your right thigh or right knee. You might lightly pull your left hand back as you push your right fingertips forward. And then again, you're inhaling up with every breath, lengthening the spine, and exhaling, drawing in, pulling the abdomen in, wringing out the organs as you wrap around your spine. Maybe the back of the head turns to the front of the mat. And again, you're just pausing and you're breathing, not forcing, just allowing it to happen from the inside out. As we're ready to come out, you'll inhale, your head will come back towards the top of your space, the shoulders will unwind, and then you will release. Fantastic. Okay, take a moment now. I want you to go ahead and make little fists. Let's just do it with our right hand. So make a fist with your right hand, turn your right palm to face up, hold on to your right hand with your left, and you're going to draw your knuckles towards your face, over to your left, down and away from you, over to the right, and back up. And you're going to take 4 of these wrist circles before we start to bear weight. And you're just noticing that because I'm not letting you move your whole hand, we're actually trying to strengthen and stretch the muscles of the forearm. It might feel a little harder. You might notice that it doesn't actually make a circle. Okay, after you've gone 4 one way, switch and go the other direction. I notice that my hand wants to skip a certain section of the circle. It just wants to hop over it as though it doesn't exist. But see if you can make that full circle. And then after you've done 4, just open and close the hand a few times like you're kneading dough or playing in that fun Play-Doh stuff. All right, and then shake that out. And we'll try that on the other side. So thumb comes into the middle of the fist, left palm faces up, hold on with the right hand. And again, that side's worse. You'll just make some little circles and feel how that feels. And after you've done 4 one direction, go ahead and switch. See if you can make that circle as big and as smooth and as even as possible. And after you've done 4, we'll go ahead and switch that or leave that. And then slowly clawing, opening the hand. Great. And then shake that out. Cool. Let's come over onto hands and knees. At this point, you want to bring your blocks to the upper outer corners of your space if you're using them. You might want to pad your blanket or your knees with your blanket. And if you have a strap, we don't really need that. It can be off to the side. Awesome. Once you find yourself seated, or rather in your hands and knees, make sure shoulders are directly over wrists, knees are directly underneath your hips, and then just allow your shoulder blades to start to squeeze together so much that your chest presses to the floor. So as though you were trying to kiss your shoulder blades together on the floor, squeeze, or together on your back, squeeze so much, your chest will drop towards the floor, your belly will drop. Now press the hands so much so that the arms stay straight and keep squeezing your shoulder blades onto your back body. Drop your head. On your next exhalation, start to pull your organs away from the floor. Start to press the floor even more. Start to drop your tailbone and then drop your head even more and find that cat shape. Fantastic. As you inhale again, squeeze the shoulder blades, drop the chest, drop the belly, lift the sit bones, lift the head. Fantastic. Here's our first cow. And then exhale again, scoop the organs, round the spine, drop the head even more. Great. You've got 3 more on your own. And we're really focusing on what's happening at the back of the shoulder blades. So see if you can squeeze the shoulder blades to come into your cow. And then if you can scoop the organs as you go into your cat, allowing yourself to start from these 2 spots. Often it's said our hands, how we are in the world, is an extension of our heart. And sometimes in order to act in a way we wish to, we have to connect with our heart. We have to connect with our gut, our internal knowing. Great. All right. This will be our last one here. Come to a neutral spine with your next in-breath. And then as you exhale, draw the weight into your right hand. Inhale, float your left arm up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, you're going to thread your hand underneath you over to the right. Inhale, push into the right hand. The left arm reaches back up towards the sky. And then exhale, thread the arm underneath you towards the right. You've got 4 of these. And so we're pushing into the right hand the whole time. You might begin to notice that your left low belly can tone as you thread your left hand underneath you. And we're just finding a little bit of dynamic movement before we hold the twisted shape. Awesome. So this is our last moving one. The next time you inhale and you reach up, you'll then exhale and dive that left arm underneath. Plant your left ear, left shoulder on the mat, and then notice if you want to reposition your right hand. Take a moment to press the back of your left palm into the mat. Notice if you can scoop the right low belly, maybe draw your chin towards your chest, and just breathe into the back of your left shoulder blade. Next, in breath, reposition the right hand, reach your left arm up towards the sky, and then exhale, return to a tabletop position. Take a cat and a cow and just notice if there's anything different between the two sides, if there's a little bit more movement, fluidity, ease, or maybe even exhaustion. That's totally fine. Just notice, we allow it to be there, and we breathe with it. Go ahead and come to an neutral spine, root down into your left hand. Inhale, reach your right arm up. And then exhale, thread that arm underneath you over towards the left. So you've got 4 in the dynamic function. And then the 5th one, we will hold. And just see if you can slow down the movement to match the length of your breath. Okay, this is number 3. And number 4. Nice job. The next time your right arm carves underneath you, go ahead and pause. Take a moment. Maybe you might need to reposition your left hand. Press the back of your right hand, your left palm into the mat. Draw your chin towards your chest. And maybe you can scoop the right low belly, and it feels like you can rotate your upper thoracic spine, maybe more towards the sky. And you just pause and you breathe. When you're ready to come out, you reposition your left hand. You inhale, sweep your right arm up, and then exhale, lower it down. Take a moment again to do your little cats and cows and just notice what you notice. Do you need to make these more of little twisted cats? So maybe you're looking to the right and to the left, the little side bending ones. Maybe you want to take barrel rolls, but just notice what's happening in your spine. Great. Let's go ahead and come to neutral. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Curl all 10 toes under, and then start to push your butt back towards your heels. You might hover your knees off the mat for an instant to then put them back down and then sit tall on your spine. From here, sweep your left arm up and overhead, bend your left elbow, and grab your left elbow with your right hand. Press the left elbow to the left as you pull it to the right, and then see if you can draw your skull straight back, your front ribs straight back. And you just pause and you breathe. And if sitting on your toes is too much, you can extend the tops of the feet to the floor or just stand on your shins. Awesome. From here, go ahead and gently release. Right arm reaches up, left arm reaches up. Bend your right elbow. Grab your right elbow with your left hand. Press the right elbow to the right. Pull it in towards the left. And then again, skull sits straight on the center of your spine. Chin parallel-ish to the floor. Nice work. All right. Inhale to lift up through left arm, lift up through right. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, tops of the feet come to the mat, pitter patter your toes if needed, and then maybe shift your weight back for a counter pose if desired. Awesome. And then you just pause and you breathe. Okay, last thing before we move on. Let's go ahead and come forward onto hands and knees. Go ahead and extend your left leg back. Curl the toes under and just pulse a little bit forward and back, noticing how your calf is feeling, how that foot is feeling. It's seeing how that feels. Then go ahead and come to stillness in this movement. Push down through both hands, scoop your low belly and float your left leg parallel to the floor. Now from here, you might stay here. You might reach your right arm forward in opposition, and you're just going to pause and breathe for 3. Pause and breathe for 2. Pause and breathe for 1. Gently lower your hand and lower your knee. Switch sides, send the right foot back, curl the toes under, and again, pulsing forward and back, just feeling what's happening over there. When you're ready, you'll come to stillness. Root down through both hands, scoop your low belly, and float your right leg parallel to the floor. Extend your left arm forward. We'll pause for 3. Pause for 2. Pause for 1. Nice work. Lower the hand, lower the leg. Now, step your left toes back, curl the toes under. Step your right foot back, curl the toes under, plank pose. Take a moment to pause here. Now, let's see if you can scoop all your organs away from the floor, lift the back of your head just a smidge. Yep. And then just pause and breathe. Notice what you notice. Can you allow that sensation to be there, that thought, that feeling? And then notice what happens with you when you breathe with it. What changes? At the end of your next exhale, start to bend your knees, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. For your first down dog, I do encourage you to maybe slowly bend one knee and then the other. And we're going to be here for about 5 breath cycles. So I do encourage you to take the time to enjoy or explore rather, just how the breath is moving, how the body is waking up in this moment. Seeing if you can inch your hips up just a smidge so your pubic bone reaches up, to where the wall and the ceiling meet. All right, go ahead and come to stillness if you're in movement. At the end of your next exhalation, start to bend your knees and walk to the top of your space. When you get to the top of your space, feet hip distance apart, inhale, go ahead and pull your heart and sternum forward and through. Baby half lift, there you go. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And then exhale, lower your hands alongside your hips, Samasthiti. We're going to do a couple rounds of Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, pull your heart forward and through, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right leg back, step your left leg back, plank pose. Take a complete breath cycle here. Big breath in, big breath out. Next in breath, shift your weight forward, and then exhale, lower all the way down to your abdomen. Extend the tops of your feet to the floor, push down into your hands, pull your hands back isometrically as you inhale and lift to cobra, whatever height you choose. Take a breath cycle here. And then at the end of that breath cycle, you'll lower all the way down. When you need to, inhale and come up to hands and knees. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. As you're in down dog, notice if you can keep lifting up through your inner armpits. Send your inner thighs back and apart. And then tip at the top of your pelvis so your bum lifts up and your legs get long. Nice work. At the end of this next exhalation, bend your knees and walk to the top of your space. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And exhale, Samasthiti. One more time. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up and overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg back, step your right leg back, plank pose. Complete breath cycle. So inhaling and exhaling. The end of the next inhalation, you'll shift your weight forward and then exhale, lower through chaturanga all the way to your belly. Extend the tops of the feet. Inhale, pull your heart forward and through cobra. Stay for a complete breath cycle. Keep pulling the hands back as you reach the heart forward. The end of the exhalation, lower all the way down. Inhale through hands and knees. And exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Notice the weight in your hands compared to the weight in your feet. Can you allow it to be there? Can you breathe with it and notice what changes? At the end of this next exhalation, bend the knees and make your way to the top of your mat. Nice work. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, hands alongside your hips, Samasthiti. Adding on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees, reach your arms forward, sit your butt low, Utkatasana, chair pose. And we'll be here for 3 breaths. Continue to push down into your big toes. Lean your chest back as you sit your butt down and reach up through your arms. It kind of feels like there's a gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades in, and you just pause and you breathe. At the end of your next exhalation, fold forward at your hips, hands come back to the floor, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step or float back to plank pose. And then you just take a breath cycle here. You notice what's happening right now. The end of the next inhalation, shift the weight forward and then exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into Cobra. And again, you take a breath cycle there, pulling the hands back, the heart reaches forward, legs are active. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale through hands and knees or plank. And exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Now this time as you're here, can you send the inner thighs back and apart a little bit more? The more you do that, the more the pelvis tips, the more the spine lengthens. And then notice, are your ears in line with your arms? Yeah. The end of this next exhalation, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Nice work. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms forward, Utkatasana, chair pose. And you just pause and you breathe. 3 breath cycles here. Can you continue to root down through the legs? Hug your outer hips in as you push your outer knees wide. And you just pause and you breathe. Can your head be part of your spine? So notice where your gaze is. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, maybe look up. And then exhale, hands alongside your hips, Samasthiti. Last set. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your butt, Utkatasana, chair pose, 3 breaths. See if you can sit a little deeper this time. Reach up a little bit more through your fingers and squeeze your shoulder blades on the back. Next exhalation, you'll shift the weight forward, straighten the legs, bring the hands to the floor, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms, step or float back through plank pose. Take a moment for a complete breath cycle. The end of the inhalation, you shift the weight forward and lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into your cobra pose. And again, stay for a breath cycle, pulling the hands back, hugging the shoulder blades onto the back, reaching the heart forward. Yeah. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale through hands and knees or plank, and exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And just notice. We spend a lot of time, some of us, trying to change things, but sometimes if we just allow them to be, they'll naturally evolve on their own. Awesome. At the end of this next exhalation, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Nice work. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold in. Last chair, inhale, sit, Utkatasana, chair pose. 3 breaths. What do you notice here? Can you sit your butt a little lower? Can you lift up a little bit more through your pinky fingers, maybe through the under armpit? Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, maybe look up, and then exhale, lower your hands alongside your hips. Take a moment to soften the gaze, or maybe close the eyes and just check in. How are you feeling? Okay, let's start to move on. Shift the weight to your right leg. Open the eyes if your eyes are closed, and then float your left leg up for one-legged Tadasana. You might slide your hands over the front of your left shin. You might take some ankle circles here, just noticing how our balance is first thing in the morning. My guess is we might all find it's a little harder than we think, and that's totally okay. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will externally rotate your left leg, so left knee points to the left, and maybe replant, or plant rather, that left foot on the inner right thigh, the inner right calf, or the right ankle. From there, you'll draw your hands to heart center for Vrikshasana tree pose. And I want you to just be okay with the weird stuff that's happening as maybe we're wobbling in and out of the shape. Awesome. When you're ready to come out, left leg comes back through center. Release the left foot to the floor. Again, both feet grounded. Notice what you notice happening there. Okay. Let's move to the other side. So shift the weight to your left leg. Float your right leg up. Hands might come to the front of your right shin. Maybe you circle that right ankle and just experience what that feels like. And then from there, you might stay here or externally rotate your right leg. The right foot might come to the inside of your left thigh, left calf, left ankle, and then hands at heart center. Now we're in Vrikshasana tree pose, and I want you to just notice what's happening with that supporting ankle. What's happening with your breath? What's happening with your gaze? Maybe the tension in your face, around your mouth. Just pause and breathe. Falling out of it is a-okay. Awesome. Gently release the right leg, come back through center, lower the foot to the floor. Okay. Bring your hands to your hips. This next one, I promise, is not going to be fun, so that's okay. You're going to shift your weight over to your right leg, and your left leg is going to come back behind you, and you're going to bend it just a little bit. So it's kind of floating off the floor. Now, this is awkward, and I'm sorry, but it's good for us. So you're going to keep trying to squeeze your left heel slightly towards your left butt. You can draw it really close if you want, just to tone the back of your hamstrings. And then you're going to bend your right leg. That's the supporting leg. And then you're going to tip over at your hips and come for this weird, wonky version of Warrior 3. And you're going to come out of that, and you're going to do that 5 times. So the more you bend your legs, the more you're encouraging your glutes and your hamstrings to start to work. And I'm sure that your ankle might be not as stable as you think it could be. I'm sure that this might be a little harder than one would think it should be. But again, can you just breathe? And if you're falling out of it, that's a-okay. All right, this is our last one. Awesome. Now we're going to do one more of these, and I want you to just see if you can send your foot back, bend your right leg, and maybe start to straighten your left leg for that Warrior 3. And you'll pause and you'll breathe for 3. You'll pause and you'll breathe for 2. You'll pause and you'll breathe for 1. Next exhalation, start to unwind and inhale, come up. Awesome. And then you just release that. You might need to shake your butt out. That wasn't too bad, right? Or was that horrible? Oh, we got some thumbs up. Okay, that's good. All right, now we're going to try it on the other side. So hands come back to your hips. You're going to bring your right leg behind you. Again, slight bend. The more you pull your heel towards your butt, the more your hamstrings work. And then you're going to bend your supporting leg. And then again, you're hinging at the hips, sending the leg back, sending the heart forward. And then you come up. We've got 4 of these. And the supporting ankle might wobble, and that's okay. We're trying to strengthen our glutes, our hamstrings. We're trying to also be okay with not doing this perfectly or it looking beautiful. I was on the train coming home yesterday and I thought it was funny. This family was on the train and the girl was complaining that she was uncomfortable. And her dad just kind of looked over at her and he's like, well, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable because that's life, kid. And I just had to start laughing. I was like, wow. But he was right. He was 100% right. The daughter was not having it, but I thought it was hilarious. Okay, so here's our last one. Let's go ahead and shift our weight forward. Start to kick your right leg back, and then you pause for 3. Whoa, you pause for 2. You pause for 1. When you're ready to come out, you gently come out. Awesome sauce. Good job. Okay. If you've got anything on your mat, now would be a great time to move it. We're going to add on/move on. All right, at the top of your mat, keep your hands on your hips. Stand with your feet hip distance apart. Shift your weight over to your right leg. Float your left leg up in front of you for that one-legged Tadasana that we previously visited. Now, just what we did with that warrior 3, you're going to bend your right leg and then reach your left toes so far back that you can put them on the mat. Nice. Now spin your left foot to the floor and start to find your way to warrior 2 in your hips. Hands are still on your hips. Awesome. And once you found your legs, so there's enough space, at least 3.5, 4 feet, and then enough width for your legs, you'll then gently float your arms open. And I want you to push down into the knife edge of your back foot a lot. I want you to draw that outer right hip in, just like we did in that chair pose. So your right knee feels like it's going to the right, but your outer hip is hugging in. And then notice as you're reaching out through the arms, if you can soften any tension around the shoulders. And then maybe look over the front middle finger, so your right middle finger. Continue to extend back through your left middle finger and feel that broadness across your chest. Can you take in a deeper breath as you lengthen your spine and exhale, sit a little lower into your hips. Keep pushing down into your feet, keep hugging the legs in. And back to the comment from the dad, we're going to stay here for maybe another 5 breath cycles. If you're uncomfortable, that's okay. You're in good company. Take in a deeper breath, noticing where you can soften things. Notice if your left arm is not as active as your right. Sometimes when we're looking forward, we're really reaching out through that right hand, but can you reach back through your left just a smidge more? Nice. On your next in breath, let's lower the left hand to touch the left thigh. Flip your right palm to face the sky and reverse your warrior. And again, you'll just take about 2 to 3 breath cycles here. Again, breathing into that whole right side body, experiencing the continued bend of your front knee as the thigh is probably talking to you quite a bit. It's like, oh, wow, that's fun. Next in breath, return to warrior 2. As you exhale, straighten your front leg long. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Bump your butt back. Sorry, didn't tell you to straighten your leg, but bump your butt back. Reach out through your right arm, and then you're going to lower your right hand to the shin, to the block, or to the floor. With your left hand on your left hip, you're going to pull the left hip back just a little bit and root down into your left foot. Push your right ribs under, or rather pull your right ribs under, left ribs up, and then maybe more of your shoulder blades are flat against your back. Can you hug the shoulder blades onto your back body? And then maybe extend up through your top arm. And you just pause and breathe as you find yourself in Uttita Trikonasana, and you just pause and you breathe. When you're ready to come out of this, I want you to take one more breath. When you're ready to come out of this, I want you to take one more breath. And we're going to do that about 3 or 4 more times. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice. Can you allow whatever is there to be there? Can you become curious about its sensations, its observings, or its, that's not the word I want, but what it's trying to tell you? And then on your next in-breath, you'll reach back through the left arm. You'll bring yourself up. Awesome sauce. You'll bring your hands back to your hips. You'll turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. And then you're going to start to wiggle walk your feet towards the center of your spine. Yep. And then make your way back to the top of your space. Soften your gaze, close your eyes, and just take a moment to check in. Drop the hands. And just notice what's happening right here, right now. Yeah. All right. It's all good. Cool. Gently allow the eyes to open. Bring your hands back to your hips. We're going to try all this on the other side. So you're going to shift your weight. This time, I guess, over to your left leg. Float your right leg up to that one-legged Tadasana in front of you. And then you're going to start to bend your supporting leg. Reach your toes back. And then put the foot down on the floor and open to your warrior two. And again, take a moment to adjust your feet. So if you need to wiggle walk the feet further apart, front to back or right to left, go ahead and do that. And then with a continued bend into the front knee, pull the outer left hip back, press the right pinky toes into the mat and lift up through that inner right arch. And then let your arms float out. Warrior two. Great. See if you can extend evenly through both hands. And then when you feel stable in that, take your gaze over the middle finger of your front hand. So as you continue to look out through the middle left finger, continue to reach back through your right middle finger. Hug your outer left hip back and keep lifting and toning through the inner right thigh. And then notice what's happening in your shoulders. Notice what's happening in your jaw, your neck. Can you take in a deeper breath as you continue to sit maybe a little lower? Yeah, and you just pause and you breathe. It's totally okay, whatever is happening right here, right now. Keep hugging your outer left hip back so the inner left knee opens to the left. You got 2 more breath cycles here. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work. Next in breath, go ahead and flip your front palm, lower your right hand to touch the top of your right thigh, and take your reverse warrior. And again, 2 to 3 breath cycles. Just pausing and you're breathing. Next inhalation, come back to warrior two. As you exhale, straighten your front leg. Draw your right hand to your right hip. Now you're going to bump your pelvis back to the right as you extend out through your left arm, long left side body, and then lower left hand to top of shin, to block, or to floor. Now, my hypermobile people, make sure you're still pushing the top of your left shin forward as you draw the bottom of your left thigh back. From here, let's root down into our feet. Push your right hip down to your right foot. Draw your left ribs under, right ribs up, and then maybe extend up through your top arm. Can you lean your head back just a smidge so your heart, your chest stays open? And then when you're ready to come out, you're going to take another breath cycle. I think sometimes it can become so easy to remember that it's in the challenging moments that we grow. We always back away from things that are uncomfortable. The dad is right. Like life is going to be hard. It's just kind of how it is. All right. On your next in breath, you're going to bend the front knee. You're going to come back up to your vertical position. Bring your hands to your hips. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. And we're going to pause here to actually stay with our legs like this time. Actually, Stephanie, turn around. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Now, I want you to take a moment to push down through the knife edges of your feet. Draw your shoulders up towards the sky, sorry, shoulders onto your back, chest up towards the sky, and then you're going to start to hinge forward at your hips. Once you come forward halfway, you might find that you want to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And then you might want to walk your hands forward just a smidge as you start to lower your head towards the floor. Some of you will find that once you're down there, you'd rather have your hand on your feet, so maybe you do that. Some of you would find that you'd rather have your hands through your legs, so you do that. Some of you might be like, yeah, I need a block or something because that's just too far away, and you do that. But you just take a moment to pause and you breathe. And as you're here, you might stay completely still and in center, and that's totally fine. You might choose to bend just your right leg and keep your left foot glued to the floor, opening your inner right knee away from your pelvis. And feel what that's doing to the inner left thigh. Nice work. If you've done that, you'll go ahead and inhale and come back through center, and then you'll bend just your left knee, widening your inner left thigh out towards the left, pressing the whole pinky toe edge of the right foot into the floor. Awesome. And then you'll come back through center. And if you're doing that, keep doing that. If you're not doing that, you stay in stillness and just explore what it feels like, what's happening right here, right now. All right. Once you're balanced between both sides, go ahead and come to neutral, come to stillness. And then let's start to come out of this. So inhale, halfway lift, bring your hands underneath your shoulders on the floor. So hands on the floor, there we go. Let's bend our knees like we're happy little football players. Yep, sorry, I don't know what this position is called. And then you're gonna bring one hand to a hip, the other hand to the hip. I want you to widen your inner knees out to reach your heart and sternum forward, and then inhale, come all the way up to vertical. Cool. Once you're there, again, the sternum lifts. If you're dizzy at all, your chin drops towards your chest. And then you just take a breath cycle here. Straighten your legs as best as you can once you're totally vertical. Cool. This is just an interlude before I make you do something else that you're not going to really like. Inhale, sweep your left arm up. You're going to take a little side bend over towards the right. And so for those of us that said they were having QL stuff, pay attention here. They should find, depending upon how you're doing this, you can lengthen your psoas and QL by just taking this little side bend. I feel it go all the way down the front of my head. So I feel it more in my psoas, but depending upon how your QL is, you might feel that too. Next in breath, go ahead and come up through center. Bring your hand down, left hand to hip. Inhale, sweep your right arm up and overhead. And then we're going to take a little side bend over towards the left. And again, I think the thing that changes how you feel this has to do with A, where your head is in relationship to your spine, and B, whether or not you're engaging the glutes on the side you're bending away from. Awesome. Next inhale, go ahead and come back up through center. Both hands to hips. Turn your toes out and your heels in. And then you're going to start to bend your knees for a grand plie in second position. Bring your hands onto the tops of your thighs, and we're just going to pop a squat here for a moment. You might lean your heart forward and lean your butt back. And it feels like there's a gentle stretch across the adductors, the inner thigh muscles. Some of you might take a rotation one way, dropping one shoulder to the opposite inner thigh, and just notice what that feels like in your vertebral column, what that feels like in your legs, your pelvis, your spine. If you are rotating between both sides, please make sure you've visited the other side. And then once we're set, we're going to come back to center, come back to neutral. We're, of course, going to release our hands here to sit for goddess pose, horse stance. And again, we're not going to like this, but we're going to be here for a while. So I want you to take the slowest breath you've ever taken today. And we're going to see if we can take 10 of those slow breaths. So for me, that was number 1. Oh, and there was number 2. And you're just going to breathe. 3. Squeeze your outer hips. 4. 5. And we're just going to do 2 more because I know I'm not breathing at the same rate as you. Last one. Next in breath, stand up. Go ahead and turn your feet parallel. Notice that giant rush of energy that just went through your legs. You're fantastic. Okay. Hands to hips, jump or step your feet together. Fantastic. And then turn to face the top of your space. All right. Once we find ourselves there, standing at the top of your mat, Uttanasana, inhale, circle, sweep your arms. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step or float back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Take a breath cycle here. And then again, you inhale through your cobra, or maybe this time you try an upward facing dog. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Three breaths. And just notice what you notice. That's a good angle, Robin. 3 breaths. Awesome. Okay. At the end of your third exhalation, let's go ahead and lower your knees to the mat. We're going to take pigeon pose, but it's not the fun pigeon pose, so I'm sorry about that. You might want your blocks somewhere near your hands in case if you need them. The blanket is off to the side in case if you need that as well. But we'll start from hands and knees, and as not awkwardly as possible. I mean, it's going to be awkward, but let's try not to have it too awkward. You might come to the tops of your fingertips, and then you're going to slide your left shin bone forward and then wiggle walk your left foot towards the right. Now from there, you're going to curl your back toes under and then start to inchworm your right knee back. Our blocks are here because we're going to push down into the front of our left shin. You're going to push down into your left knee and try to suck those points together. Now, as you draw those points together, you're going to start to hopefully experience an opening across the front of our hips. So some of us mentioned that we had hip stuff going on. So we're trying to find an opening across the front of your right hip. And to find even more of that, you just lengthen your tailbone down towards the floor, and maybe you inchworm your right foot a little further back. If you keep the right toes tucked under and really push down into your right big toe so the right leg stays active, you'll find a lot more stuff happening on the front of the right hip. We're just going to pause here. Again, you're pushing to the left shin, you're hugging it back, you're pushing to the right knee, you're dragging it forward. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Awesome. And then gently, we'll come out of that. So hands come to the floor, step your left knee back. And then we'll try that on the other side. So now your right shin comes forward. You wiggle walk your right foot a little bit to the left. You curl your left toes under and start to walk your left knee back. Again, the blocks are there to help. Because we're not at a full 90-degree angle in our knee, your right toes are pointed and you're pushing down to the top of the right shin, the left knee. Notice if you can lengthen your tailbone to the floor and keep your left toes curled under so you can push back through that big toe mound and find that opening across the inner part of the thigh and up. Okay, yeah, I got a nod. That's good. Okay, and you just pause and you breathe and you nod and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. And here's our last one. All right, let's go ahead and release that. Hands to the floor. Step your right leg back. Take a moment in downward facing dog and just pause. Pause, pause, pause. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Great. Let's go ahead and inhale, come forward into plank. Lower slower than you want to, all the way to the belly. Slower than you want to. That's pretty fast today. Good job. You're like, we're done. All right. Once you make it onto your abdomen, extend your right arm forward, roll over onto your right side, and continue onto your back. First thing we'll do once we find ourselves on our backs, well, that's great stuff. Thank you. Is I want you to find one of your blocks and put it between your inner upper thighs. If you don't have a block, no worries. A pillow will work perfectly well here. And you'll put it between your inner upper thighs. You'll bend your knees. You'll plant your feet firmly on the floor and extend your arms alongside your hips. Now, that block or whatever its substitute is can be at the setting so that your thigh bones are directly in line with your hip sockets. And then from here, I want you to lightly squeeze that support or that prop, push down into your feet, push down into the backs of your shoulders, your head, and lift your hips. Once you've lifted your hips up, you might walk your shoulder blades even closer together on your back, really trying to kiss the shoulder blades, squeeze them together on your back. Some of you might hold on to the outer edges of your mat and actively pull it apart. And when you do that, you notice that it hugs the shoulder blades together even more. And then wherever you are, I'd like you to notice if you can draw your front ribs into your back body. So even though we've got the shoulder blades trying to support the opening of the heart, we've got the front ribs reining it in so it's not too much. And then push down into your big toes even more, maybe hug that support in even more, and then see if you can lift your outer hips up just a smidge. Yeah, and you've got 3 breath cycles here. And whenever you're ready to come out again, you're going to take one more breath. One more breath. Fantastic. This is our last breath cycle. At the end of this exhalation, gently release your hands, untuck the shoulders, and come all the way back down. And just pause for a moment. Knees bent, spine in neutral. And just notice what's happening right here and now. How's the body? How's the breath? How are you? Okay, we're going to do that one more time. So when you're ready, push into your feet, squeeze your block, lift your hips. This time, notice what arm variation you would prefer to take. So some of you might interlace your hands underneath you. Some of you might robot your arms. Some of you might just not have the arms doing anything. But I want you to just take a moment to notice. We notice first, we allow that awareness or that feeling, that thought to be as it is, and we just breathe with it. We notice what changes by simply accepting, allowing, embracing things as it is, as we are in any given moment, in any given breath. At the end of this next exhalation, gently unclasp the hands, untuck the shoulders, bring the pelvis back down. Take a moment to pause and take a moment to breathe. Okay. Last back bend of the day. Some of you are going to just push through your feet, lift your hips, and slide your other block underneath your hips. Some of you will stay exactly as that leaves you in this supported bridge with a block between your legs. Some of you will be like, yeah, that doesn't work for me. Some of you might choose to then just do another bridge. Some of you will then keep that block. You might remove the block and then maybe either draw your legs down towards the floor or reach your feet up towards the sky. But you take the decision or you take the action that's based upon you having checked in with your body first, knowing what it feels like it needs, accepting that, and then acting from that place. And wherever you are, you're going to be there for about 5 to 10 breath cycles. So I encourage you to make sure it's a spot where if it is uncomfortable, it's not painful. There's a difference. I guess the dad should have qualified that for the little girl on the train, but she looked like she was 8, so I'm sure he didn't need to qualify that just yet. But some of the things we have to do, we have to have a bit of discomfort so we can grow. But as long as we're not in pain, we're good. You just pause and you breathe. And I'm sure that was about 5 breaths so far, so you got another 2 to 5 depending upon how you're breathing. And you just pause and you breathe. And then those of you with your legs extended up towards the sky, you're going to slowly start to bend your knees, and one at a time plant your feet on the floor. Those of you whose legs were long beneath you are going to slowly bend the knees and start to plant the feet on the floor. Now, before we get off the block, I want you to squeeze your tuchus. We strengthened it today. So squeeze your butt muscles first, then push down into your feet, lift your hips, remove your block, and then put your butt back down. From there, just take a couple breath cycles in neutral to let your spine settle. Yeah. And then you'll walk your feet outside of your hips. You'll let your knees cross or cascade into each other, and then cross your arms over your body for constructive rest. And you'll just take 5 breath cycles here with whichever arm is on top. And the invitation on this side is just to breathe. Notice where you can allow more of the body to just settle. So the arms become heavier into each other, they become heavier into your chest. You feel the expansion of the shoulder blades on the back body. Your head just drops into the floor. Your pelvis drops. The knees fall into the support of the other knee. The feet just melt into the floor. And then you just take in a deeper breath, noticing that the more you can let go, the more spaciousness you start to find. On your next in breath, you'll notice which arm is on top, open the arms out, and then exhale, switch the arm that's on top. Now, as you're on this side, I'd like you to just plant a seed. And the seed is this: from a state of observation of what's going on in your body and your being right now, notice what final shape or shapes might feel very interesting or exciting or comforting or nurturing or supportive to you. And once you have an indication of what that may or may not be, I want you to start to move towards that shape. Some of you might be like, yeah, Jessica, I'm straight up ready for Shavasana. And so you might take Supta Baddha Konasana or Shavasana, might take a happy baby or a figure 4. You might need a gentle twist of some sort, but check in with your body and respond accordingly. And again, notice that if you pick something and you're like, yeah, that wasn't it, you're always free to choose again, to try something else. A lot of times, if we can allow ourselves to slow down just a little bit, to allow things to be as they are, to accept them as they are, it gives us a greater capacity to then choose again and choose more wisely because we have input, we have data to reference. And part of that data tells us that sometimes the things that scare us, sometimes the things that make us feel a little bit uncomfortable aren't always such a bad thing. And sometimes they are. But it's only with, I guess, time and wisdom that we begin to learn the difference. So we've got about another 4 to 5 breath cycles doing whatever the heck you happen to be doing. If you've done something that's asymmetrical, I would encourage you to try the other side. But again, you do whatever's working for you. And then when you feel complete with your explorations, make your way to your final resting pose, whatever that is, just make sure it's symmetrical. Make sure your body's warm enough for the environment that you're in. And make sure that the body's also supported enough to sustain the shape that you take. Nice. Once we find ourselves into that final shape, I encourage you to notice if you need to fidget just a smidge more so that your right side and your left side feel equally grounded, equally rooted, equally supported. And then you're going to gently let all the breath leave your mouth. Take a big breath in through your nose. Take an audible breath out of the mouth. And do that again. Big breath in through the nose. Audible breath out of the mouth. Last time of this set. Big breath in and big breath out. Continuing with that, you'll take a big breath in. At the top of your inhalation, hold the breath for a beat or two. And then exhale, let it go. Do that again. Big breath in. Hold the breath at the top. And then big breath out. Last of this set. Big breath in. Hold the breath at the top. Big breath out. Last set. Inhale, draw the breath in. The top of the inhalation, hold the breath. See if you can sip in just a little bit more air. And then exhale, let it all go. Inhale, draw the breath in. At the top of the inhalation, hold your breath. See if you can sip in a little bit more air. And then exhale, let it all go. Last set, last one. Big breath in. Top of your inhalation, hold your breath. Draw in a bit more air. And then exhale, let it all go. Allow the breath to gently return to its natural, involuntary rhythm. And you'll just allow yourself to be here for a few more moments and a few more breaths. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. As you're here, I do encourage you to notice where you can continue to soften by just simply allowing things to be as they are, allowing you to be as you are. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, notice what you notice. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready, allow movement to re enter into your form in whatever way feels nurturing to you. Again, those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll start to stretch and wiggle and yawn yourself to one of your sides. Once you're on one of your sides, take a few breath cycles there to just allow yourself to gently reawaken the nervous system, the vestibular system to come back online. And then you'll gently roll your chest a little bit more towards the floor. Use your top hand to walk your spine up to vertical. And then prop yourself up on a block or a blanket or a pillow, anything to be more upright. Again, just as we began, move any flesh from underneath your sit bones. Plant your hands wherever is comfortable on your thighs. And if you need to wiggle the shoulders or circle your neck, by all means, please do that. And when you found yourself more balanced, find yourself in stillness. And then again, just take a couple breaths here. What would life look like if you just allowed yourself to just be, just show up, not have to do too much? How might your relationships change? How might you change? What would happen if you allowed others to just be, to just show up? How might they change? The more that we can remember that often the greatest gifts that we can give to ourselves and others is just simply our undivided presence, our undivided attention. I think the more liberating it will become for us as well as others. So, for your undivided attention for this last hour and 15 minutes, I wanted to say thank you. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and then push your sternum up into your thumbs. Take a big breath in. And then at the end of your exhale, let the breath go. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, the awareness within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, the awareness within each of you. Namaste.